Aloha, everyone, and welcome back to another deep dive. Today, we're traveling back in time to a place that's no longer around, sadly, but it definitely lives on in people's memories, as we found out when we were doing our research.
Yeah.
So we're talking about Johnny Quong's Hawaiian.
Johnny Quong's Hawaiian.
Have you ever been there?
I have not, no. This was a little bit before my time, but the research was so much fun. Like, I felt like I was actually transported back
I know.
into, like, 1960s Salt Lake City.
I know, me too. It's so cool. And yeah, sadly, it closed in 1983, so it's been gone for a while.
Wow. And it's so interesting, too, because it brings together, like, these big national trends, but also this very specific local flavor. It's like this perfect blend of, like, the American fascination with, like, Tiki culture and Polynesian vibes.
Yeah.
But also how that played out in a place like Utah, which had its own unique set of rules and influences. And
Exactly.
we'll get into those.
It's like a microcosm of, like, a bigger story.
Exactly.
So where do you think we should start? I feel like we need to give people, like, a quick rundown.
Yeah, a little Tiki culture 101.
Exactly. Yeah, like, what is it?
Exactly. Okay, so imagine this, right? It's the mid-20th century. America's coming out of World War II.
Okay.
There's this sense of, like, optimism, and people are looking for a little bit of escape.
Makes sense.
And along comes Tiki culture, this, like, romanticized, almost exaggerated kind of picture of the Polynesian islands and the South Seas.
Okay. So basically it's like
Yeah,
bringing that tropical paradise vibe.
exactly. It's all about escapism. It's about, like, lush decor, you know?
Okay.
Think lots of bamboo and teak wood and, of course, those iconic tiki torches. And it was everywhere. Restaurants, bars, hotels, even people's homes.
So this wasn't just like a small trend, it was like a nationwide thing.
Oh, it was huge. It was a full-blown cultural phenomenon. And Johnny Quong, he really tapped into that.
Okay, so Johnny Quong's Hawaiian. How did he actually, like, bring this tiki culture to life in his restaurant?
Oh, he went all out. I mean, think about the name itself. Johnny Quong's Hawaiian. It's like, bam, you're already transported, right?
Right.
But then you add in the decor. We're talking, like you said, bamboo teak wood, those essential tiki torches.
Yeah, I read somewhere that they even had, like, anchors and fishing nets and stuffed sharks. Like, they really went.
Oh, yeah, they really committed to the theme.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just about the looks. They actually had these incredible indoor tropical storms.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I'm serious. They rigged up the whole restaurant to create these, like, simulated thunderstorms
Wait.
with, like, lightning and thunder, and even the floor would vibrate like you were in the middle of a storm.
That's crazy.
It's amazing, right? It's like
Yeah.
dinner and a show all rolled into one.
And you said this was all happening in, like, the 60s?
Yeah, the mid-60s to mid-80s, that was the golden age of Johnny Quong's Hawaiian.
Wow, so they were really pushing the boundaries of what a restaurant could be.
Exactly. They understood that it was about more than just the food. It was about creating an experience.
Yeah, and this wasn't just like a one-time thing for Johnny Quong. He actually had other themed restaurants, too.
Oh, yeah. He was all about the immersive experience. He had King Quong,
Oh, yeah, I remember reading about that.
which had this huge animatronic gorilla.
That's awesome.
And Papa Quong's Pier 54, which was designed like a ship deck with moving waves.
I wish those places were still around. I would love to see that.
I know, right? It sounds amazing. And it just shows how dedicated he was to creating these unique dining experiences.
His daughter actually talked about this in an interview. She said that he didn't want his restaurants to look like the typical Chinese restaurants. He wanted to give diners more than just food. He wanted to give them an experience.
That's a great quote, and it really sums up his whole philosophy, right? But here's where things get even more interesting, because we have to remember the context, right?
Okay.
This is Utah in the 60s and 70s.
Right.
And Utah, as we know, has always had a pretty unique relationship with alcohol,
Yeah. Utah's liquor laws have always been a little bit different.
to say the least. And that actually played a big role in the story of Johnny Quong's Hawaiian.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued.
So we found this letter from 1969 written by Benny Chan, who was the manager of Polynesian Salt Lake City.
Okay.
And in this letter, he specifically states that Johnny Quong's restaurants, including the Hawaiian, did not serve alcohol.
Really?
Yeah, it was because of state laws at the time that prohibited the sale of malted liquor.
Wow. So no, like, metes or zombies or any of those classic tiki cocktails.
Nope, not a drop. It's pretty wild to think about, right?
It is, because those drinks are, like, such a big part of the whole tiki culture.
Exactly. They're, like, synonymous with it. But Johnny Quong had to adapt. He had to create this immersive tropical experience without that key ingredient.
So how did he do it? How did he make it work?
Well, it seems like he doubled down on everything else. The decor, the atmosphere, the food, the whole experience was carefully crafted to transport people to this Polynesian paradise.
Okay, but even without the alcohol, people still loved it.
Oh, yeah. They absolutely loved it. The Hawaiian became like this local institution, a place for date nights, family dinners, special occasions.
So it's like a community gathering spot.
Exactly. And it wasn't just the Hawaiian. His other restaurant, Johnny's Tiki Hut, was also super popular.
Okay, tell me more about Johnny's Tiki Hut.
Well, we don't have a ton of information on it, but we do know that it opened in January 1962,
Okay.
and it became a favorite hangout for the sports staff of the Salt Lake Tribune.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they would go there after covering evening events to unwind and hang out.
It's so interesting to think about, like, these guys in their suits and ties,
I know, right?
sipping on, like, Shirley Pumples or whatever they're drinking.
Exactly, and it just shows how these restaurants really became woven into the fabric of the community.
Yeah, they weren't just places to eat. They were, like, social hubs.
Precisely, they provided a space for people to come together and connect and escape from the everyday.
And I think that's what made them so special and so memorable.
Absolutely, and it's a testament to Johnny Quong's vision and his ability to create these truly unique and immersive environments.
Okay, so we've talked about the culture, the atmosphere, but we haven't really talked about the food.
Oh, yeah. The food was a big part of the experience,
And
too.
what kind of stuff did they serve?
Well, it was classic Americanized Chinese food with a bit of a Polynesian twist.
Okay, give me some examples.
We have an actual menu from Johnny's Tiki Hut from 1963,
Awesome.
and it lists things like egg foo, young chow mein, sweet and sour pork.
Okay, standard Chinese American fare.
Exactly. But then you also had things like Hawaiian chicken and pineapple fried rice.
Okay, that's more like the Polynesian influence.
Exactly. And of course, they had pupas, which are Hawaiian appetizers.
Okay, so it was like a fusion of different cuisines.
Yeah, exactly. And it sounds like the food was really good, too.
Yeah.
People raved about it in reviews and online discussions.
So it wasn't just about the gimmicks. The food actually lived up to the hype.
It seems so. And that's important, right? Because
Yeah.
ultimately, a restaurant has to deliver on the food,
Absolutely.
no matter how cool the atmosphere is.
Right.
But it sounds like Johnny Quong really nailed it on all fronts.
So we've talked about Johnny Quong's Hawaiian. We've talked about Johnny's Tiki Hut. Were there any other restaurants that he owned?
Yeah, there was one more that we haven't mentioned yet, King Quong.
Oh, right, King Quong.
This one was also in Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
And it was known for its really elaborate Chinese decor. And as I mentioned earlier, a giant animatronic gorilla.
I'm telling you, that gorilla is like the stuff of legends.
I know, right? It's like this mythical creature everyone's heard about, but no one has any pictures of.
If anyone out there has a picture of that gorilla, please send it to us.
Please, we need to see this.
We need to see this for ourselves.
But yeah, King Quong was another example of Johnny Quong's commitment to creating these over-the-top themed dining experiences.
It's clear that he was a visionary, a real pioneer in the restaurant industry.
He really was. And it's amazing to think about the impact he had on Salt Lake City's dining scene.
Especially considering that he was doing all of this in a place where alcohol wasn't even allowed.
Right. It's a testament to his creativity and his ability to adapt and overcome challenges.
And I think that's a really important point to highlight because it shows that you don't necessarily need alcohol to create a successful and memorable dining experience.
Exactly. It's about the food, the atmosphere, the service, the overall feeling that you create for your customers.
And Johnny Quong clearly understood that.
He did, and I think that's why his restaurants resonated so strongly with people and why they're still remembered fondly today.
And that's what makes this whole story so fascinating, right? It's not just about a restaurant. It's about a time and a place and a man who had a vision.
Exactly, and it's about the power of community, the way that a place like Johnny Quong's Hawaiian can bring people together and create lasting memories.
And I think that's a message that resonates with everyone.
It does, because we all
Yeah.
crave those connections, those shared experiences.
And that's what makes these local gems so special.
They're more than just places to eat. They're part of our history, our culture, our identity.
And I think it's important to remember that and to appreciate the legacy of these places, even if they're no longer with us.
Absolutely, because they tell us a story about who we are and where we come from.
And that's something worth celebrating.
It is.
So to everyone listening out there, we hope you enjoyed this deep dive into Johnny Quong's Hawaiian. As always, we encourage you to stay curious, keep exploring, and keep those questions coming.
And maybe next time you're at a restaurant, take a moment to appreciate the history, the stories, and the people that made it all possible.
Because you never know what hidden gems you might uncover.
That's right.
Until next time, aloha.